Adam Wagner said any allegations that the former police commissioner, Ian McGrail, had deliberately withheld evidence were utterly baseless.
Why would Mr. McGrail pour his heart and soul into this inquiry, which he called for, which he has staked everything on, and make such extensive disclosure, but keep back messages between him and Richard Olger? Why would he and others withhold messages which you yourself, sir, has said are unlikely to change your core findings? It doesn't make any sense until you realize that what you are seeing is the smoke without fire, a sliver of the moon without the moon itself, the dying embers of a strategy by the government parties which must have been to admit nothing and throw back whatever accusations could be mustered. For a public authority to take this approach is nothing short of a disgrace. It disgraces them and it disgraces Gibraltar. And to make it worse, that attempt has now extended to the other senior RGP officers. This has so concerned the RGP that they made this extraordinary submission in advance of the hearing. They said the RGP has concerned that the government parties are not really motivated by concerns about open justice, or that they really believe that they said disclosure can in any way impact the chairman's conclusions on the inquiry mandate. Rather, they appear to be nothing more than a naked attempt to see if they could cause public reputational damage to the RGP.
Mr. Wagner said the application to reconvene had focused greatly on the allegations not against the government parties, but against Hassans' lawyers.
The public will reach its own judgment of the submissions this morning when he painted the real victims here as Picardo, Levy and Baglietto. This is important because it shows how thin the membrane is between the government of Gibraltar and Hassans. It might be said, to paraphrase the ending of George Orwell's Animal Farm, that at this hearing, and indeed during this inquiry, we have looked from Hassans to government and from government to Hassans, but it was impossible to say which was which.
Ian McGrail's lawyer said the inquiry and Gibraltar face a fork in the road.
The government parties, Fabian Picardo, Michael Llamas, Nick Pyle, have taken one path towards Gibraltar PLC, a state run like a private enterprise where the central principle is making its rulers wealthy, where politicians and lawyers can accumulate vast wealth. As the Chief Minister admitted in evidence, he has become wealthier than I ever wanted to be as a result of honestly discharging my profession as a lawyer and the distinction of being Chief Minister, where some men are more equal than others. That's one path. The other is the Gibraltar of Ian McGrail, of Paul Richardson, of Richard Olger, and of Cathal Yates, who the inquiries heard from this week. Imperfect, like we all are, but honest men, hard-working police officers, nobody watching could have missed where the lines have been drawn and who stands on either side. The government parties have made their choice. They could have chosen to do the right thing, to make concessions, to show insight, to apologize, as any responsible public authority would have done, given the obvious abuse of power which lies at the heart of this inquiry.
Adam Wagner said in the 5 years since Ian McGrail was ousted, matters have, if anything, worsened. He asked that the inquiry report's findings and recommendations rise to the size of the challenge Gibraltar faces.